Thanks, everyone. Do you want to introduce yourselves and let us know who you are and what your relationship is to the Fire Safe Nevada County Coalition?
Well, I'm Dario Davidson. I'm a forester and the leader of the Lower Colfax Firewise community, and I'm just a mentor, volunteer, helper. I worked with a lot of Firewise communities helping to write the risk assessments. So I've seen a lot of different Firewise communities, a lot of the issues that we have out there. A lot of them are similar from community to community, and I just want to help people figure out all the things that they can do to mitigate their problems and keep the renewals going and help new Firewise communities get through the recognition process.
I'm Bob Long. I'm retired. My background is in healthcare, healthcare finance at most levels, skilled nursing, acute hospitals, nonprofits, and public health. Most currently, I do a lot in the area of finance. I'm the treasurer of the Rotary Club. I'm the chair of the finance committee at the hospital. I sit on the finance committee for Dignity Health Corporation, and I'm the treasurer of this organization. And hopefully, and I'm also the chair of my Sherwood Forest Firewise community. And I had been in Erica's position, and I too stepped down from that. It's a lot of work.
Oh, you didn't like the pay or what? It was the overtime.
The overtime, he said. Yeah. I'm Joanne Feitz Kaufman, and I'm the chair of the Fire Safe Nevada County Coalition. And I'm a retired fire scientist from the U.S. Forest Service. And I am the co-lead with Pat Leach, many of you know, of the Salmon Mine East Sages Firewise community.
Well, we have you with the mic, Joanne. Can you tell us what inspired you to launch the Fire Safe Nevada County Coalition?
What inspired me is sitting around talking to KC quite a few times, especially during the LA fires, and just seeing all that was going on. And we thought we need to do more because there's plenty of good support in the county. But when something like that happens to prepare, you can't have enough help. So that was really the initial inspiration. And then working with other Firewise community leaders, you get to share what your challenges are, share what has worked for you that might work for me. And it's just very inspiring to be able to work with other Firewise community leaders to try to help each other do better, because by ourselves, it's really tough to do. It's a tough thing.
I guess when I was asked to the first meeting, what I was concerned about was what was going to happen in September and October when it was time to rewrite our plans, our action plans. And I had a huge amount of help from Pat Leach when I had to do our reassessment action plan and what's the other thing? The annual assessment. Yeah. And so I was concerned about what was going to happen in this coming September and October. I knew that Pat was still around, but I knew there was not a whole lot of support behind that. And the coalition has been around for what, 8 years? How many years? Almost 8 years. And as a volunteer, I was getting tired as a volunteer. And there were many things that we wanted to do in the coalition that was difficult because we didn't have a framework. We didn't have a banking account. We didn't have a checking account. There was just a lot that was not there for us when we were trying to do the work that we did.
Yeah, and from my perspective as a forester, looking at the bigger picture, I see there could be a lot more collaboration between Firewise communities, a lot of projects we could work on together. And I just thought we could do a better job of sharing each other's successes and difficulties, and have a better network system and find ways to educate people on things that they need a little more knowledge on.
Thank you. So the big elephant in the room is the Fire Safe Council versus the Fire Safe Nevada County Coalition. I know our names are very similar. And would you like to speak, Joanne, about how the organizations are different and how they complement each other?
Yeah. Well, we're both California or Fire Safe Councils recognized by the California Fire Safe Council. And like many other organizations in the community, we're both dedicated to increasing wildfire safety for community members. One of the things that they've done a lot of that we will not do is to do fuel breaks. But we do share a lot of other things that we do, which is to support Firewise communities. So I think it's just another avenue and more availability for people to get help that they need.
Thank you. So you've all talked about why you started the organization and what it's doing right now. How do you see this organization evolving over the next few years? Where would you like to take it?
I'll start with this one, but I will pass it on. I think the big vision is for us to move beyond being Firewise to be fire adapted. And what that means is when the wildfire comes, because it's going to come, that our homes, our communities, our businesses, the pretty landscape that we have comes through it and is still functional. So that's the vision, is that we go on from just being Firewise to being fire adapted. The second thing is to have clear pathways for developing leadership for Firewise communities. How many of you wish you had a succession plan? How many of you have tried but haven't gotten others? Okay. Well, we're going to try to figure that out, and maybe you have ideas. So, some of the workshops we're having are mini leadership academy things. And then lastly, to involve the youth more. As far as that fire adapted, I'm envisioning a fire adapted youth corps so that we get young people involved in doing some of the physical labor that we can't. We're tired.
Yeah, strong backs. I think the main thing is that the coalition is here for you. We're not here to build bridges or cut down trees. We're here to help you. When I was quite frankly, the reason I became to join the committee in Sherwood Forest is because I didn't want that other person telling me to cut down my trees. And so I thought I better get on the committee so that I can save my trees. Well, since then I've cut down about 30 trees. But so, there was no one there to tell us what to do. I mean, we were just there by ourselves, and we did all right. We figured it out, and things worked, but there was no one there to help us. And then the coalition came along, and I think we started doing a pretty good job helping one another figure out where to go. We solved problems. I mean, somebody said, what do I do with this neighbor who's got a grove of cedar trees growing there and he won't cut them down? So, we got to, matter of fact, there was an engineer sitting in the back of the room that drew a diagram and he gave it to me, and I put some words to it, and then Susan fixed it. We gave it to OES, and it became a 3-page document that we shared, and it works. And so that's the kind of thing we're looking to do moving forward. Is our whole purpose is to be here to give you whatever it is you need and that you want. I mean, we're here to support you.
Yeah, and those two just covered about everything, but that's a good point, Bob. We want to help you. We want to know what you need so we can put that together to help solve some of your problems. And as a Firewise community leader, I know what you're up against because there's a lot of bases to cover, a lot of things to do. And some of us get some support in our communities and some don't. Well, with the new coalition campaign, information campaign like Casey's put together, it's going to help us just get the message out, because sometimes we were just overloaded with too much information and I'm not sure people were even reading it. So now it's going to be more focused on what you need to do now instead of just here's everything that you need to think about and your head starts spinning and it's just too much.
I got someone. So another thing, when we were the coalition and we're purely volunteers, we tried to answer the phone, we tried to return emails, but we were not always here, and certainly we didn't have anyone answering our phone for us. So one of our goals as this new organization is we're hoping that we'll be able to work things out so that we have staff. And of course, the purpose of our staff is to answer the phone and really not a phone tree that sends you somewhere, but actually answer the phone, and someone who will receive your emails and then parse out those emails to somebody who can answer your question. So it's that live part that we don't have now with the volunteer organization, but with a corporation, we'll be able to hire staff and actually be there, 5 days a week to answer the phone and answer your questions.
And just for an update on that, Kevin Kiley's office is helping me to pester the IRS on our nonprofit 501c3 application. So far, even he hasn't had luck, but I'm counting on it.
Thanks, Dawn. I just give you the opportunity to ask questions. I think we just want to discuss. No questions. Anyone? No questions? Anything from Zoom land, Susan?
Okay, I got it for you. So all our forms and everything, right, actually go to the National Fire Protection Agency. And it seems like the Fire Safe Council is the one that's actually showing up as representatives on that. And I assume that's going to continue to be the case with you all won't be replacing any of that. So that's all the stuff through the National Fire Protection will still run through Fire Safe Council. Is that correct?
The question about who will continue to be an FPA representative, Trucking Fire one, and then we have a fire safety council, and then we have also applied to do that as well, because I've got a lot of different Firewise leaders that are coming to me. And we're having to work around screenshots and, sharing screens and documents. So we are helping people doing that right now. So we're hoping that we get that administrative. Yeah, it's to streamline things for people.
Question here. We do have a question on Zoom. Virginia's asking, can we still access all the docs from the old website on the new website, like the 30-day courtesy notice? I think so. Jeff?
Yes.
Yes.
The web is constantly evolving and will evolve more over time as we put it together pretty quickly. So we've been kind of rehashing a lot of things in some of the looks, and now with Casey's campaigns, we've added that. So yeah, most of the material is there, but I would encourage people, if they're looking for something that they cannot find, they can email me and we'll either make sure it's there or tell them where it is. So.
Yeah.
Okay, if there are no further questions, I will thank our lovely panelists. Thank you so much.
Before Erica leaves, I want to present to Erica on behalf of the Fire Safe Nevada County Coalition our appreciation for everything you've done. And it was an incredibly difficult role for Erica to play, to all of a sudden have this new group, some of the old people, some of the new people come in and say, hey, we're going to totally shake things up. And we're evolving, and she just had that same cheerful smile she has on right now, and excellent attitude. So I want to present this to you on behalf of us.
Thank you. It's been an absolute joy. I thoroughly enjoyed my whole experience.
You're stipend checks in the mail.
Yeah, right.
Headphones?
Okay, I will allow you to sit down. Okay, moving on. Speaking of PC's campaigns, we want to get some of your feedback on the spring campaign so that we can make it better for you and talk about the new summer campaign. I'll let PC and Joanne, are you part of this as well? Oh, we just skipped over the panel. Let's move on to the next slide, please. Right, so you guys have heard a lot of this terminology campaigns. Basically what that means is, putting together messages, like Dario said, that makes sense for where we are in the season and will help us do our jobs as volunteer Firewise leaders better. So in essence, that's what that is. Next slide. So how many of you guys were here last month when we did the Spring into Action launch? Cool. You're the ones I'm talking to for the most part. Just real quick, what we said was we're starting to put together these materials. Ideally, you would then take them and share them with your neighbors in your community, with your committees and so forth. So I'd love to just get a quick feedback, next slide please, on if you downloaded them off the website, the PDFs, or if you, next slide please, just one more. Or if you used them, did you like the topics? Did you like the content? Were the materials good for you? Any sort of general feedback on what we just did as our first foray?
When I saw them, I absolutely loved them. And I can't remember how I put it together, but I sent out 3 emails with the content. I may have put the content right in the email. The reaction from the people in the community was awesome. And it resulted in some tasks being formed based on the material you gave us.
I didn't think we had that kind of success like on our first outing. Thank you so much for that feedback. Anybody else use it? Anyone else share it? Right here?
Well, I downloaded it for myself, and I have the hard copy, which I think people would like to have, but I couldn't picture myself printing for everybody. But I did, so I did include it in the email, as she said. We got maybe 2 people that said, "Oh yeah, thanks for that."
Cool. Thank you for that. Anyone else want to share back here? Okay. We have recording.
I was able to incorporate much of the information into conversations that I had with individuals. I find that's the best way to get people to actually do something is just talk to them face to face.
Cool, thank you. Want to pass that to Jeff?
I like the fact that a lot of it was social networking ready. Thanks, Casey. I mean, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, you can take these documents and without having to do a lot of reformatting and try to figure out, it's not going to work there, that kind of thing. So that was very helpful.
All right, thanks for that feedback. Just because that's our first launch and we know that not everybody has sort of gotten into this, we see this as a rhythm. And so we're here today to talk a little bit about the summer campaign. Next slide, please.
And Erica teed it up. But what we focused on is starting now June, July, August. This is sort of the last chance to do any sort of work around your properties, your homes prior to the peak of fire season. As our friends from CAL FIRE like to tell us, fire season is year round, but there are still peaks and valleys, right? So one of the things we discussed was, how can we message this in such a way that the folks who are doing the work, like if you've got your defensible space, you want credit for it, right? You don't want us coming in hammering at you, say, do your defensible space when you're the one who's done it. So what we came up with was Ready or Not, Wildfire Season's Here. So that's our summer campaign. And if you click to the next slide, June will have the message, procrastinators beware. So you can see, those of you who have done the work, you get to pat yourselves on the back, but for your neighbors who haven't, we're giving permission to talk about, whoa, this is no joke. As we move forward, I'll share a little bit about message change for July and August.
Point out month by month rather than all at once like the spring campaign was.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Because it was a little bit of a lot of information.
Yeah. Yeah. We're working on the rhythm. So even to have that feedback right there, are you going to come out monthly or just seasonally is helpful? Okay. I have a dry throat. Sorry, Zoom land. So, just read that off. Yep. Casey can't talk. Oh my gosh. Procrastinators beware. If you're not signed up, you're not ready. And so register for the alert systems, and we send you right to readynevadacounty.org. They have all of the emergency alerts there. So that's the first one. Next slide. The second one is really to do those last minute items. Gut the gutters because the leads keep going in there. Screen the vents, zone 0 or bust. That's the one that I'm really concentrating on myself right now, zone 0. And this is in a social media format.
You're doing great. Go.
Next slide. Now, some of these, Casey just has a great sense of humor, and I think that's a really good way to engage people. And you just give us as much feedback as you want as time goes on. So this is just another, no more excuses, get her done, cut it back, clean it up, don't wait for the smoke, do the dirty work, defensible space basics, mow the grass, prune the trees, move your wood piles. The point is that, you could send that out to your entire community, or like Terry says, you can go be very friendly to the person that hasn't done it and give them something humorous that won't, be so much in their face. So here's another one. And then zone 0. And we've got a couple of different formats of these on the website. So if you go there, there's going to be a PDF format. There might be one that can go to Facebook or Instagram or a text. And, some of them you get to make your choice. This one here for zone 0, it's for people that are less knowledgeable. And then this one over here, I kind of like this one because my community is knowledgeable, but whether they all do it or not. Anyway, it's just another reminder for people. So you can, someday we'll be rich and we can give you hard copies. Right now, that's just not possible. Nice pinch hitting. You can tell we're actually a team because we can, replace each other. So the main thing I wanted to point out, though, is this particular one is designed more for you guys to, send out by email and or put on your mailboxes is how we're using them, because it has a little more information. Some of the previous ones were more for social media to generate the awareness. So the combination is a 1-2 punch where we will be doing messaging across the county, and then you guys can take the materials inside of your community and it'll all be supported and work together. Next slide is the same. the same formats, but thanks to Susan, she called out the printing factor, right? And that printing would be better in white instead of a black background. So we're learning that, how to be more practical and so forth. And so I know, Susan, you actually took some of these to your meeting this past week and used them as part of your conversation with your annual meeting. So these are just tools. We're building them as we go, but again, under that sort of last chance things to do around your house, and things that aren't necessarily, now we're not taking down trees and doing the big burn piles. We're focused on those actions that are still viable in this time period. This is something one of our team members, Sandy, called out, this idea that we do have a lot of fireworks scares. So we have these available on the website right now. And they're, certainly something coming up in the next week or so, that if you, I have a campground in our community. I'm from the UBAT Firewise community, and we end up in Rollins Lake with the Peninsula Campground. So we want to make sure we get these down there for their bulletin boards, and that, they're helping to message that, hey, it's illegal to do fireworks, and we certainly don't want that. So 2 ways to say no, just say no. I mean, we grew up on just say no. Just say no to fireworks, people. And then, of course, because fireworks and forests don't mix. So just 2 subtle ways of supporting that message that you're going to hear come out from CAL FIRE and OES and all the others. So I mentioned a little bit about a sneak peek. So this is just a June, July, August calendar. And what we focus on, we first come up with sort of the overarching theme, which we talked about, ready or not, wildfire season's here. So June is wildfire season's here, procrastinators beware. And we isolated the kinds of tools that we're looking for. So there's also some emergency communication tools that are on the website that we're also sending out on social media. In July, we will shift. The Procrastinators Unite will become a little bit more serious, a little more direct, not quite so funny. Red Flag Day actions, we're going to talk about that tonight. But we'll be putting together checklists and things of that nature. And then evacuation know-how. As a sneak peek, one of the things we're currently working on behind the scenes, how many times have you guys heard these big wildfires, the Chico, the Park Fire, and they say the fire went how many football fields, right? And in how many minutes? So we're going to have a little image that will be for social media showing a person racing across a football field and talking data points about how fast that fire is versus you. So there'll be a series that will come out around evacuation that supports the just go kind of concept. In August, the reality is every minute counts. We have to be ready to go at a moment's notice. So this evening on the agenda, we talk a little bit about go bags and situational awareness, which Jeff and Susan are going to lead us through some new tools that not everybody necessarily uses. And then it's just check and recheck. By August, it's really about being prepared and how do you shut down your house if you have to evacuate. So those are the kinds of materials that you'll see come out, spaced over the next couple months. So again, the role here is Firewise leaders or residents. It doesn't matter if you're a leader or not, is to share this content. We want to see you guys, if you use Nextdoor, help us put the word out. If you're on Facebook and any of the Grass Valley Peeps or Nevada County, and you see these things, share it with your community. I actually, even though I created one of the things, I went to the county, I shared it back to my community as if it came from somewhere else, because they hear from me all the time, right? So I'm using this organization to be a different mouthpiece so that I can fly under the radar and support it. So, figure out something that works for you guys. And then, like we started here, the feedback is super critical. We're starting to build an arsenal of wish lists. Like we've already had a conversation around the right topics to be talking about in winter and what we could put together. So if you have ideas or you have something that's, in your head, a frustration or a challenge, those are the things we want to hear and we can craft solutions to it. Thanks. So with that, Jeff, I think you're up next. But while you're coming up, I just want to open it up. Questions or comments regarding that? And Joanne, you want to talk to, you already told them about downloading on the website. Is there anything else you wanted to add to that? No? Any questions about what you just saw? I mean, thumbs up, neutral, hate it, relatable, easy? Okay.
Should I just ask how many, show of hands, how many people use social media? Communicate with your
Facebook.
Facebook, and what else?
Next door.
Email.
You use next
Text.
door, you have your own, you just share it.
Yeah. And you choose, both more of a next door person, I'm old. So you have a community, right? Your
Neighborhood or something, and you can spread it out, globally or keep it kind of isolated.
One thing I want to add about the social media and why
You know more about
I
next door.
think it's super important for like base message. How many of us raised our hand for looking for a succession plan? Guess who's using social media? So once we start getting this out and starting to socialize some of these things, in a more less humor, but there could be some other ones, right? But in a way that is easy to digest, little sound bites, and it's a constant little pulse. People are like, oh God, maybe I do live here. I tell my neighbors who are younger, you have family, you have kids. Are you moving? No. So you're invested here and you're staying? Yes. Well, I'm going to age out. And so at some point, you guys are going to have to take over. And I'd rather we do it as a transition than as a clip. So this social net, this pulse, this pressure, to me, is going to help with that story a lot.
Just a quick commercial on Nextdoor. It's just an app. It's on your computer, on your phone. It's a community. It's free. When you go to Nextdoor, I think it's nextdoor.com. It might be .org. It has you put in your address, so you can't pretend you're someone else. The minute you put your address in, it links you up with the group, the community that belongs in that area. They've created their own areas of influence. You can, when you post something, you can elect to do it just to your neighborhood, which could have thousands of people, or nationwide. So you choose. So I post things there of upcoming interest, but I've also posted things like I've got a bear picture because there's a bear in my backyard. So it's a wide gamut, but I put, for instance, the flyer for the 26th festival. I put it up there. So my neighbors know that that's there and it's free and it's available. Easy to use.
It's just on Facebook or it's separate?
It is not. It is a separate organization out of San Francisco. It's a community-based communications system. It's a social system. Doesn't cost you as a user anything. There are rules and guidelines and moderators who watch content and will pull content if it's inappropriate. And they're now just starting to run ads, which is why it was created in the first place, because now they've monetized it. But the ads are not distracting. It's an easy use, free application, and it gets you right into your neighborhood.
What's the name of it?
Nextdoor, one word, Nextdoor.
It
is not email, it's social media like Facebook. You can post things and flyers and pictures and comments, and people can comment back to you.
It's very similar to Facebook, just not as many ads.
Where does this go?
Okay, I was tasked with this from Casey to talk about some of these apps. So we chose these 5 apps. I'm really just going to focus on 3 of them. But these are apps that would be on your phone. Some of them are web-based too, but most of the time you're not going to have your laptop when the flames are lapping at the back of your car and you're trying to get out of here. Your phone is going to be your main source of communication. So the 2 that I'm not going to spend a lot of time on are Windy. There it is. Oh. I think this guy taught technology for 40 years. Okay, Windy and Broadcastify. Windy is a great app. I don't think there's a free version. There is a free version, yeah. It's a very comprehensive weather app. Windy is very good. I don't use it. I mean, you get inundated with weather between Channel 3 and whatever beeps are going on your phone. It seems like most people know most what's going on with the weather, but don't disregard Windy. It is a great app, very comprehensive, lots of radars and information. The other one, Broadcastify, is basically a sort of a police scanner. And I think CAL FIRE is on Mickey's. CAL FIRE, does that go to Broadcastify? Do you know? Yeah. I haven't spent much time on Broadcastify. I think a lot of times it's like that kind of CAL FIRE or police talk, and you have to kind of know all these codes. Scanner, it's like a scanner. You have to know all these codes, and every time I see something on Facebook, there's always somebody there who, oh, that means, because they understand the codes. So those two, they're great apps. Don't get me wrong if you want to take the deep dive. But the three I'm going to talk about now mainly is Watch Duty, Flight Radar, and Genesis. I'm going to finish with Watch Duty because that's, to me, is the best one of the three. I love Flight Radar. My kids were all gamers. It's kind of like playing a video game almost. It's like looking at a video game. I remember Flight Radar basically shows you all the flight paths of every plane that's flying in America, worldwide, I think, I don't know. And it shows you live. I mean, you see the plane moving. It's a little graphic of the plane. It's great fun. During the river fire, we were sitting on the deck of my dad's house, and the fire was pretty far away. We were using Flight Radar, and you could see all the movement of the planes. You could see them coming from Sacramento or coming from the Nevada County Airport. You could see the helicopters spinning around. It shows you their path. So it's not the kind of thing like when the flames are lapping at the back of your car that you're looking at Flight Radar, because you can hear the plane overhead then. But it's more of like the fire's 50 miles away, 100 miles away, and you want to know what direction it's going. It's really easy to tell with Flight Radar because it shows you in real time where these planes are going. And if you want to take a deep dive on it, actually, let me go forward. I think I have some notes on it there. If you want to take a deep dive on it, you can click on the plane that's flying, and you get this kind of an image, and it tells you where it's going, what time. If this happens to be a commercial flight, but if it's the fire planes, it'll show you what size it is, how big it is, what kind of a helicopter it is, for the geeks in the group that want to know that kind of stuff. This is what it looks like up here. You actually see the little planes, and during the app, they're just like flying around, and it's great fun for the video gamers. Question?
Now, the most important thing, once you've identified a fire plane, you can click on that particular fire plane. You'll actually get a path where it's flying.
Right.
And if you watch the bigger tanker ones, you'll actually be able to see, it'll actually change colors as they go down and out. And you can actually see where they're dropping your report.
Right.
So you can tell pretty much where things are quicker than anything else.
Right. Yeah, it's just great fun to watch. I mean, it just amazes me that this technology is out there, that here they are flying live right in front of your face, and you can see. Yeah.
Can you quickly repeat that for the Zoom audience?
Yeah, for the Zoom audience, was basically what I've been saying, that you can, the planes are showing you real time what's happening, and if where they're flying around lakes, they're helicopters dipping down into a lake to get the water to put out the fires. But like I say, you can take the deep dive. You can learn more about the airplane that you're seeing there. And on the map, you can zoom it in, zoom it out. You can zoom way out and go over to San Francisco Airport and see what's going on there. But you can zoom right in on the fire and see exactly the motion of what's happening. Click on the moving planes. Is it a VLAT? A very large air tanker. Some of those VLATs carry over 8,000 gallons of fluid. Unbelievable. Anyways, it can help determine how aggressive the air attack is and which direction the fire is heading. So, like I say, it's not the kind of thing that you'd be using in the moment, but when the fire is far away, I always go to Flight Radar and check and see what kind of air attack is happening. Genesis, formerly Zonehaven, so that it's called Genesis now. It was Zonehaven, and it's now like on the Nevada County dashboard. Genesis is all about know your zone. So you launch Genesis, you type in your address, you can zoom in and out to see all the zones. You can see which zones are under evacuation order. You can see which zones are under evacuation warning. So it's very helpful from that. And if you go to the Nevada County dashboard, It's also there. You know, right now the Nevada County dashboard isn't activated because there's not an emergency. If there's a big emergency, then it kicks in. But they on the menu on Nevada County dashboard, they've got evacuation incidents, they've got live webcams and fires, they've got burn permits, status info, current wind and weather. So there's tons of information on that dashboard. But now that Alex is here, I'll tell her it'd be nice if they could make the mobile version a little more user friendly. I mean, it works. It works. Yeah. So Alex from OES was saying that there's some updates coming for you there in Zoomland to the Nevada County dashboard that'll make it a little more user friendly. But it's got tons of information during an event. So very powerful stuff. But everybody should know their zone. 283, everybody know their zone? 283, 284, 282. What does the E mean? Does anybody know? Some of them are other letters. Okay, GRS. Well, we're NCR or something, but then we have an E in there. I don't know. So anyways, 283 is the key thing. Yes. Yeah, Genesis has the mobile app, and that's easy to just log into it and put your address in, zoom out, and you can see exactly what's happening. You know, so between Genesis and Flight Radar, you can really get an idea of direction of fires, what's happening with that. But my favorite is Watch Duty. This is just an awesome piece of software. My wife and I are ready to give him some money because we feel like I use it all the time. It's pinging in my pocket all the time. I said I should give him some money. So basically, in Watch Duty, it tracks fires. How many of you use Watch Duty? Okay, so everybody's used Watch Duty. It tracks fires. It's in the little hamburger menu, which is the 3 lines in the top left. They call it a hamburger menu because there's 3 lines and have meat in the middle and 2 buns. Okay. You can set up notifications. I think the free version, Susan, you thought I didn't know? No, the free version allows 4 counties. So you don't have to get Watch Duty pinging you all day long with all the fires in California. You can say, I want, Nevada, Placer, Butte, or whatever counties. So you can set the 4 counters. You can do places. You can set up a place like home. So it's really easy to find, oh, there's a fire. How close is it to my home? You can have various places like homework, school, or whatever. And then the layers on the right side of the screen, there's layers here. You can set the street view, satellite, or topographic view. So that's really cool. Street view is really handy, but then sometimes you want to see the topography, like is there a canyon or a creek or a river or something there. And then in the layers, you can, this is where the fun is, you can turn them on and off. So there's live wildfire cameras you can turn on, click on them and it goes to the cameras. It's very cool. There's the wind direction, and that's really neat. You turn on the wind and it just shows you live on the screen which direction the wind is going. And then they have an air quality index thing that could be handy during a fire because of the air quality. And then this was pretty neat. I discovered the fire perimeters, including historical. So if there's a fire somewhere, it'll show you, oh, there was a fire here at a certain time and a certain date. So it gives you some historical stuff. And then if you want to pay, like for the members, there's a flight tracker, and I haven't checked that yet. And the professional, there's all sorts of other things if you want to pay the professional fee. But I think that Flight Watch Duty is just an awesome app and worth every penny. So
free version also shows red flag warning boundaries, which is very nice.
So that she said the free version shows the red flag boundaries. So, and then the near me I liked. I think near me is up. Yeah, you're right there. Near me is nice because that just takes you right to where you're standing. So if you zoom the thing way out and you're looking at some fire up in Humboldt County, let me get back to where I am. You click near me and it pops you right back on the screen to where you've been. So to me, watch duty is essential. You know, I mean, my wife constantly is bugging me when she hears that ping. Where is it? Where's the fire? Where is it? Bing, where that little noise it makes. Where's the fire?
Also know that there is a website for Watch Duty, watchduty.org. It's $25 a year, and you get Flight Radar with that.
Yeah, so something like Watch Duty, I think is definitely worth the investment. So, anyways, those are the to me, Watch Duty, Flight Radar, and of course the zone. You got to know your zones, and you got to know where the evacuation warning, where the evacuation is happening. So those three are critical. Windy's great, Broadcastify is great. Sometimes it's TMI, but any questions? Yeah, questions or comments?
I'm finding scanner radio is becomes a key thing if you really need real details, because it'll actually pick up the Nevada County Fire Department and share that.
Does it give a lot of that like formal
they get the code, they do have the codes on it. The codes are listed, but you can actually hear what's going on and what's actually happening in real time. So once you've heard Flight Radar, if it's closer, you really got to get more details. It is one place you can go to really get current information.
Okay, any other questions or comments?
I have a comment. We make great use of Broadcastify, and what we use it for is we have a neighborhood radio system, and during high fire nights or high fire concern nights, we run a night watch, and it's one of the tools that the night watch people use to know what's going on around us.
Any other questions, comments? Onward. Who's next?
We have this, and we'll send, what's that? Sure, that way I don't have to bother Sandy. Okay, thank you, Jeff. I just learned something. So thank you for that. This section was about situational awareness, and the county focuses on all of the alert systems, which is awesome. The situational awareness is, for me, like going to Nevada County Scanner Peeps on Facebook, and then hearing what they're saying raises more questions. So like you, we monitor scanner in our community. We actually had a fire in UBET last Wednesday, and I had my feet up in my zero gravity chair, and I heard call fire call out brush 57, which is Peardale, my fire department. And they called it out to Old Immigrant Trail and UBET Road. I live on Old Immigrant Trail off of UBET Road. And I struggled to get out of my zero gravity chair. And yeah, so I notified Mike, my partner in the back, and we have a water truck, and we quickly identified where the smoke was and where the property was, and we're ready to go. So the reality is waiting for someone else, as we talk about August, every minute counts. There's a lot of minutes between when you go to Facebook and see it on the scanner versus when it's announced. My first instinct was, is the fire in my area? Do I need to do something and evacuate now? And we too have a radio program. So I quickly activated our neighbors and had everybody on standby until we figured out what was going on. So it was quite a scare, but I do recommend situational awareness as we enter into even more peak fire season, that, don't wait to find out, find ways to know it. And that was the purpose of this section, is for each of us to be helping our neighbors understand what tools exist, not that everyone needs to use every tool. Okay, I mentioned that we had some kind of big news. Joanne and I are going to tag team this as well. I'll try not to choke. Can't promise anything. So just taking a step back, I wasn't on the panel about why I was part of the founding team helping to start this new nonprofit, but I will share now why that is. As a Firewise leader over the last 7 years, I had a lot of frustration around a variety of things. A lot of what Bob said, there was no support. We had to figure everything out on our own. Tried my best to share with neighbors as I could, but had my hands full with the big UBET community and helping out on the county level. One of the things that I kept noticing, and I think it's because my background is marketing and business, is that we've gotten to a point where there's the messages that we're sending out are very jaded. It's cyclical. It's every year, do your defensible space, do your home hardening, but we no longer, we take for granted people know what that means and all the ins and outs of it. Well, another observation I have, which in my coming on board as a Firewise leader 7 years ago, I met with Chief Beerwagon from Peardale, and he told me about Red Flag Days. And he told me that when you leave and go to town shopping, don't expect to have a home to come home to. And I was kind of like, what? At the beginning stages of this journey, not a lot of background and all of this kind of stuff. And, that stuck with me. And over the course of the following few years, I learned more about, wildfire behavior, mitigation, and all this kind of stuff. But what hasn't changed is the red flag messaging. So since last year, we've been talking to various organizations, including CAL FIRE and the university, wildfire education groups, and so forth, about how can we uplift this message? How can we create something that is more actionable and it helps people realize that a red flag day is not a passive thing, but it's a warning to do something. So tonight we're sharing with you what we're talking about. And we are introducing a new terminology called red level wildfire threat. And so it's in essence a red flag day on steroids. And we're going to talk just a little bit about that. So why are we doing this? Pretty much as I just said, but red flag day is actually something that is announced by the National Weather Service. So it's a technical weather term. And we all know, someone here, give me when it's a red flag day. What does that mean? Wind.
Low humidity.
Low moisture, high wind. High heat. Correct. So those are all weather terminologies. So we got it. They did their job. They told us what a red flag day is. We understand it's hot, it's dry, and it's windy, right? But what it doesn't do, it doesn't trigger action. It doesn't have urgency around it. It just says, this is here. So as we've watched this over time, the new messaging that we're going to introduce, it's clearer. It signals wildfire danger. And I'm going to show you guys in a minute how it fits into red flag and code red. But before we go there, over the last year, we've done some research. And here's where I'm going to switch to Joanne to talk a little bit about the correlation between red flag days and catastrophic wildfire.
Before I start, I want to say that it dawned on me we need a workshop we're going to have on social media for old people. I need it too.
Make sure somebody under 40 is there.
Yeah. So one of the things that we see, and this is pretty small for you to look at, but with, which button, Jeff, I got it now. All of the big fires are often, almost always associated with red flag weather. The Eaton fire, the Palisades fire, last year the Park fire, the Maui fire, the Dixie fire to the north, over 1 million acres. The North Complex, deadly fire to the north again. CZU Lightning Complex, Camp Fire. This is the column I want you to look at. The deaths, okay, 85 people in the Camp Fire. We have a lot of similar conditions. Am I trying to scare you? Yeah, I am. And the Tubbs Fire, 22 people there. The Tunnel Fire, 1991 in Oakland Hills, 25 people. So the thing about the red flag weather is that it means that we can actually see that it's related to fires. And there are detailed scientific studies where they've done statistical analysis. It's not just a list like I'm looking through here, which is pretty compelling to me. But there's actually been a lot of formalized studies. So the message is, and I'm going to talk about it soon, what do I do when I see that red flag warning? My husband thinks I go crazy, but I'll let Casey go next here.
Thank you. So, personal anecdote. So I've kind of been tracking this over the last couple of years, trying to figure out, scratch my head, how can we address this, right? And the Eaton and Palisades fire, family in Southern California, San Ynez, Pacific Palisades, you know, all those LA areas. And that particular weather series was red flag day, but very rare occurrence of extreme behavior that was anticipated. That notification came out on a Friday. On a Sunday, I contacted my family and I said, you guys need to be packed with your car, half full of gas minimum, headed out. Tomorrow is extreme conditions. And tomorrow, Eaton Fire and Palisades Fire hit. So that was the final straw for me regarding what we're doing here and why this messaging is critical. It's predictable. Wildfires have become predictable. We're getting the information, but we're not doing anything about it. I mean, that's ridiculous, right? I mean, if you knew that this red flag day meant extreme risk, as Joanne teaches me all the time, it's not just a risk. They're telling us it's an extreme risk. So you can't see it, there's a picture. We'll be coming up with some graphics, that's all that means. The graphics are gonna be big fire, red level, wildfire threat. It doesn't mean it's mandatory, it's absolutely gonna happen, but there's an extreme risk of it happening. On this one, I don't know if we could turn off the front lights, guys, if anybody's got that. This is something that we're just calling the Wildfire Emergency Communication Pathway. And we met with Alex and Alessandra from the Office of Emergency Services, talking a little bit about this pathway and this flow and how it's a continuum. So in essence, today we've got the red flag day. Let's see if that's right. And then we have code red. So this is a weather alert, and this is an evacuation, go. So the gap we're filling is right here. We're saying that from the flag day, let's not just be informed, but let's take action now in order to prepare ourselves and our family for the safest possible evacuation. I actually have heard stories of people who have been paying attention to this, who during red flag days, they evacuate then. They don't wait till the ignition start, the fire start, they actually leave. So, you know, am I there? No, but do I think that might be a good idea for some? Maybe. So you'll see campaigns coming out within the next 30 days that will use some of this language. Know the signals, take the right steps, stay ahead of the threat, every minute counts. Just to give you a little bit more of the overview on this, we mapped it out in terms of what the communication is, what the trigger is for that, and what the intent and the message. So for the new one, red level wildfire threat, that is a confirmed wildfire threat nearby or severe fire risk. Preparation and immediate action. And as Joanne said, we have checklists. I developed my own red flag day checklist some years ago when I learned about this, because I was like, there's a lot of information. I need to put it all together. Some of my neighbors use it, some don't. But we're going to be making that available and other versions of that to everyone and making sure that we educate ourselves on that. You want to do that?
What do I do when it's a red flag weather day? I take my go bag and I put it in my car. I often have a chainsaw or something there because you never know if a burning tree is going to go across the road. We talked about that in our newsletter today. I make sure that my vehicle is facing out so that I don't have to back out. I can go out quickly. I make sure that my dog's go bags are there and I have room for them. I call up my neighbor. I have 2 elderly neighbors, and I want to make sure that they're aware and they're ready, and let them know that I've got room for them in my car if they need the help. I always have more than a half a tank of gas in fire season. It's always 3/4. The other thing that I'm not doing that day, though, is before I have already driven my routes on Sunday drive. So I also make sure in my car, especially for those days, I have a map, a hard copy map in case I need it. So I'm ready. And then I start watching, I do it anyway all the time, but I'm looking at watch duty. I'm looking at any type of information system I can. And I look at the weather like crazy because I want to know when it's coming. And the watch duty winds are very helpful because if you see a fire near you, you can see, am I so close that I should leave now? And some people, that's great. If you have big animals, leave. You can go visit a friend or a neighbor or family down the hill. Go do it.
Thank you. So in summary, I'm just a hot mess here today, guys. I'm sorry. Mo, can I ask you to read this out loud for us, please? Summary, it's time to raise the alarm. Nevada County can't afford to treat fire weather like just another forecast. Red flag becomes red level wildfire threat because danger isn't coming, it's here. Every red level wildfire threat day is a call to act, not to panic, but to prepare. Because when fire threatens, readiness is everything. Thoughts, feedback? Yes, sir, Mark.
So does one trigger the next? In other words, if it's a red flag day, are we automatically, in your scheme, we're already at red level wildfire?
That's correct.
Repeat the question.
It's not a separate event call out. It's one trips the next one, and then you wait for the evacuation.
Yes, that's correct. The question was, is it a separate event or does the red flag day trigger the red level wildfire threat? And the answer is yes, the red flag day triggers it. So it's a messaging strategy. So in essence, we take the weather information that's passive and we're translating that into what this means to you as someone who lives here, what to be aware of. This is, we all drive by our fire stations and we see those things that say the fire threat today is yellow, green, or red. So think of it as that, right? We pass the red one and when we drive by, we see it and go, oh crap, maybe we say some other word. I should be on alert. But it doesn't go to the next step to say these are the things you do. So that's what we're talking about. Susan. Well, while you're getting to the note.
Yeah.
I'll fix that next one.
To me, what red flag warnings mean is that if a fire breaks out, and it's going to break out somewhere during those conditions. If conditions are so extreme, things are going to happen fast, really fast. So you better be totally prepared, like Joanne was talking about. You watch on watch duty all these fires. The red flag warning fires, when they break out, it's a different animal than what you typically see.
Thank you. Go ahead, Susan.
Well, in the early years of the coalition, I used to go out and give presentations to various Firewise communities, and I found that a lot of people don't know where they're going to go. And so there's this kind of psychological resistance to leaving, especially leaving early, because they don't know where they're going to go. And so I always emphasized, figure out now where you're going to go. If you know anybody in Sacramento or Yuba City or Lake Tahoe, call them, even if you only know them moderately well, call them and say, if I ever have to bug out of here because it might be a fire, can I come to your house and hang out? And Most of the time, these people will probably say yes to you because the chances of it actually happening aren't real big. But you need to figure that out. I've got in my phone contacts, I have something called Yuba City. And then I've got the hotels and their phone numbers there under Y for Yuba City, so that if my husband's driving down the 20, I'm on the phone getting us a room reservation. But maybe you're going to have to go north to Tahoe, or maybe you're going to hopefully not go down the 49 with thousands of other people, because we've got all these different directions, right? But I'd like to see us add on to this, figure out now where you're going to go.
Yeah, great point. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Wondering if anybody has any favorite traffic sites to look on the web, like we use Caltrans sometimes if we're going up to the mountains and how things are. It might be good to check and to see if there's a big, let's say, a red strip where there was an accident or somebody was bailing out and going in that direction and a dead end.
Yeah, I know I just use Google Maps. It tells you all that stuff, but does anyone have a specific app that's traffic related that you like? Caltrans is using? Anyone have anything? We can research that and add it to our list. It's a great call out. Well, thank you for the comments. Any concerns about us moving forward with this strategy?
Casey?
Go ahead.
Make sure you hold on.
It's
to that.
ready,
You
ready
need-
to go?
Yep, you need to keep going.
Okay. I would like to add to your preparation from experience. I grew up in northern Wisconsin, and lightning struck our barn, and we were not ready. Oh,
I'll hold it for you.
right there? Okay. I'll do that. We were not ready. My parents were not ready. My father did not know how to get the car out of the barn, so it burned up with the barn and lightning had struck. When I was 14 years old, a house fire burned our house. You would be surprised how many stupid things we did because we had not actually done it. We talked about it, but we didn't do it. For instance, my mother was in the basement handing out canned goods, glass jars. I didn't have time to carry them to the barn, so I put them in the snow. When she climbed out and we had that pile of glass jars there, they had frozen and broken into pieces. You have to go through it, and if you have dogs, have you tried putting them in the car? If they're not used to it, you may have a real problem. I suggest you do it. Go down the road and say, yeah, I did it, it worked, and I got it done in 15 minutes.
Thank you for that. Okay, so to wrap up this section, one thing I want to go back to is the situational awareness. We talked a little bit about the apps and so forth. We also want to share best practices. So I recommend, does everyone in here have a cell phone? The answer is yes. You know how you can move apps from screen to screen. If you haven't done it already, create a group. You can create a group for your apps. So I keep in my upper left-hand corner of my homepage all of my fire-related apps in one spot. That way, if I don't have my reading glasses on, I don't have to look for it. I know exactly where it is, and I know where they are. So I go Windy, Broadcastify, Watch Duty, Code Red, PG&E Reported for my down trees, Flight Radar, Genesis, right? So everything that I want to be able to use, it's at my fingertips, so I don't have to find it. I mean, it sounds so simple, but most people are still scrambling trying to A, get the app downloaded, and B, locate it when they need it. This becomes critical. Every minute counts. Every minute counts, right? So like when I got the call out Wednesday, fire, Old Immigrant Trail, and you bet. You think I didn't know where my stuff was? Sir, do you have something?
I haven't heard it mentioned yet. But,
Yes, sir.
The Nevada County Sheriff's Office actually has a really good app, and the Nevada County Sheriff's Office has a good app, and they will also do the National Weather Service. They post updates, so they'll let you know if there's red flag warning in our area, and then also with them being in the charge of evacuations, it might be a good thing to have on your phone to notify you if they start pulling triggers like that evacuation zone.
Thank you. I love that. Okay. Well, Nevada County Sheriff.
Nevada County Sheriff.
This is what this meeting is all about, sharing expertise and insights and hot tips. So we're all going to get a better platform and foundation together. Yes, sir, Mark.
Real quick, what wasn't mentioned is Ubinet. If you guys go to Ubinet and do what's happening now, they do a really good job of tracking progress over time.
Yep, and Ubinet is following the same scanners that we follow, right? Broadcastify, CAL FIRE, but she does an amazing job of getting them up on time. So we hear the same call out that CAL FIRE gets the call out at the same time Ubinet gets the call out. So I'm cutting out 5-10 minutes of time by listening directly. All right, so you can look forward to seeing things come out from there. And again, the request here is over the course of the next 2 months, help us message the difference between red flag day, translating to action. What is the right phrase we're using? Red level wildfire watch. Exactly. Cool. All right. Well, here we are. We put something together here today knowing that nobody was going to listen to us and bring their go bags, and we took bets, and one person brought their go bag. So you win all the prizes. Hey for you. But we recognize that there are a lot of opportunities to share information and knowledge. So a bunch of us brought go bags in. So we do want to have a conversation about it, because one of you guys back here said it's something we knew we should do, but we didn't do it, right? So how many of you standing here right now have your go bags 100% refreshed for Wildfire Preparedness 2025? How many of you? Show of hands. That's 5 of you. That's not very good. But it's still June, right? But guess what? Wildfire season's always here. So Jeff's going to start us off. I brought my go bags, plural. Mo brought her go bags. So Jeff wants to do something. Jeff, go. You do your thing.
Wool shirt. Wool is important. Cotton. Don't step out of the house in your nylon shorts or nylon shirt.
You look so good, so we could pick for that.
So that's critical. The clothing. Chris Riley, R.I.P. Chris. Oh, that's right. I need a mic. How am I going to do this?
Here, you want me to hold the microphone
Sure.
for you?
Chris Riley, he used to do a great presentation on clothing. So like these are stove gloves. Having these things with these long arms would be great to have. You can get these kinds of things on Amazon. They go around your neck, something like this. I think they made the strap on a helmet. Then they go around your neck like this, and that'll keep the embers away. A nice hat like this one. This is a good one, but this is a little better. It's got a back to it like this, so the embers will
Model the back. Model the back.
Okay. So that's critical. Something like that. A nice cotton shirt. You know, this cotton thing is so important. If you just don't step out of the house in your flip-flops and your nylon shirt, that's a recipe for trouble. A nice Carhartt work cotton shirt.
Can I chime in?
Yes.
So the only clothes you should have stacked up by your bedside in case you have to run in the middle of the night are wool or cotton. And why is that? Someone tell me why. The other ones will melt on your skin and burn you and not protect you. Excellent.
Boots, nice leather boots, you know, again, not in the flip-flops or the nylon sneakers or whatever. What else is in there? How about some of this stuff? Toilet paper, you're out in the middle of nowhere, you don't know what's going on, you might need some toilet paper. This might be a little overkill, but this kind of a thing, if it's really going crazy, some goggles. And then you can get these masks like this, you know, and they come with the cartridges. So these masks, they go over like this, and then you're really protected from breathing the smoke, okay? So these masks are good cartridges. Some N95s could be handy too.
And we all have those left over from COVID, right? So we all have a stash of those already.
So these kinds of things, Chris Riley would talk about these because you watch the campfire, you see those cars driving away and embers flying everywhere, and you understand where he's coming from because you just don't know what it's going to be like. Let me see. Food's always important, okay? Some garbanzo beans, don't forget that. Then with food, you're gonna need can opener. So make sure there's a can opener because you can't eat the can. Transistor radio, and these things take batteries. So have some extra batteries.
Or like my radio is a hand crank, solar powered radio in my go bag. Bam.
This is really important documents. Of course, by now, I'm sure most of you have uploaded them all to Google Drive or sent them to your uncle's house or whatever, but still important documents are critical. No kidding, water, a lot of water, because you're going to be hot and dry and thirsty.
Grab two at a time. Two at a time. Let's see what you got.
Two at a time. Okay. A shirt, more cotton clothing, be fire safe. Fire blanket. And Steve Baker the other day said, you could put this between yourself and here's the car window. If it's just like intense heat, you put these little fire. This is the kind of thing we have by our kitchen. Important photographs of your children. If you haven't digitized them yet, let me see, I'm getting to the end here. Flashlight, little knife, utility tool, toothbrush would be handy. Extra car keys. I lost the keys. It'd be handy to have an extra set of car keys. Just a regular towel. It's good. You wear contacts. Don't forget the extra contacts. My dad's ashes. I wouldn't want to leave home without.
Oh, Jeff.
He drank a lot of Jim Beam. I got another knife. I got the little thumb drive with important documents on it. This is a no-brainer. Vitamins, credit cards, money, checkbook. What else we got here? Emergency health first aid. Obviously more than just one box of Band-Aids, but you get the idea. Maps. I don't know how many people. I try to explain what these are to people under 30. These are maps. They're paper. They have lines on them. They show you where to go. All your charging stuff for your phones and stuff, your laptop or iBook, iPad, or whatever it is that you use. Extra glasses if you wear glasses. And most important, when the flames are just blasting behind your car and you say, this is it, it's all over, honey. Another shot of tequila, let's go. So.
All right, so.
A whistle. Oh, that's the wrong whistle. That's a penny whistle. No. What do you use the whistle for?
If you're caught in the smoky place, they can't see you and you need help and rescue and the first responders cannot see you, you call out with your whistle that you are there.
Okay.
Thank you, Jeff, for the show and tell. Now we're going to play a game with Mo. Mo, would you please show me one item that he did not have in his go bag that you think would be, and tell us what that is.
We bring bolt cutters, so if we come across a locked gate, we're unlocking the gate and driving through. So always in our car.
Okay, show us another item that you have that he did not.
Well, this is actually my husband, but he's convinced that if a tree comes down across the road, he's going to cut it in half so he can get through. So we will always have our chainsaw.
Chainsaw. All right, what else you got there?
Full-size fire extinguisher. We may never need it, but if you go by someone who needs assistance, at least we can throw it out the window and they can use it if they need it.
Cool. What about,
we're gonna go.
What about in your bag itself? Anything in there that he didn't cover?
So in my bag, I don't have as much as he does, but I have a luggage tag. His luggage tag has a few things I want to grab and go that don't fit in here. Because if I don't write it down, I won't remember, and then I'll be very upset.
So her luggage tag is for grab and go. I have a luggage tag on mine. Here's my thought, right or wrong. What if I end up in a shelter and we're giving cots to sleep on and every single person in there has their go bags and they all kind of look the same? Why not put a luggage tag on your bag? What else you got? I'll tag team with you.
Thumb drives of all my stuff, backup from all my different desktops. But I've already emailed the most important things to myself. So from wherever in the world, I can go to my email and get documents.
While you're doing that, can I kind of have a conversation?
Please.
So we're up at the top of U-Bet in a very, very, very a place that we may never leave. we may be trapped forever. So Mike and I divided ours up into a survival backpack that if we are literally in the wildfire and we can't get out, these are all the things that I'm not going to go over with you. But this is all the stuff that I would put on my back if I had to run out. And it's everything from compass and headlights and water and burn patches. The one thing I'm super concerned about is what happens if we're racing from a wildfire and I do get burns. So I do have a very solid medical kit in my regular go bag. I don't know where they are in here, but I also carry a backup. They look something like this, but basically burn patches that you put on if you get burned. So my motto for those of you who know me is hope for the best. I'm eternally optimistic. Prepare for the worst. So this is my prepare for the worst kit. Yes, Louise.
Are there fire resistant backpacks?
I don't know, but for me, this is, it's canvas and it's good. Okay, what else you got?
And crank radio flashlight that she was talking about. So I'll be able to listen to the radio after a few cranks. Plus, it's a flashlight.
That's super cool. Jeff, can you move this box for me? You got anything else in there that Jeff did not cover?
I don't have my father's ashes, but I have my mom's that I've never wanted.
Oh.
So until I find another place to put it, I have it in here.
I have a couple of other unusual items.
Oh.
Thank you, Jeff. Never know what you're going to need it for, but apparently it fixes everything and can be used for everything. So I make Mike carry this because it's very heavy. I'm going to share another one. This is from my sports. I used to get chronic bronchitis every year. So I carry a can of oxygen. What happened, and I don't do well in smoke. We've had fires on our property on purpose, prescribed fire. And I walk through the smoke on purpose. My eyes can only stay open for 3 seconds. So the goggles that Jeff showed are no joke. That's the first thing I pull out. But I have a slew of things like bandanas. They can be for sweat. They can be operated as a mask. It could be for a variety of things. So we keep those in there at all times. What else you got?
My address book. I don't have everything in my phone. This is something I've had since a kid. So it's got everybody's phone numbers and addresses. So I just throw it in here too.
I have flashlights and lanterns. And no joke, when he talked about, the Band-Aids, I said I have a full medical kit. My thing is, if I'm getting in a shelter and I'm going to be stressed out, what am I going to have? Heartache. Who doesn't need a good Tums now and then? So there's a variety of things. You go ahead.
Last thing, cash. I know there'll be ATMs somewhere, but just in case.
The power's out, they'll be down.
Oh, power's down?
Okay, well, what do you want to share?
I have an old purse. I don't use many purses, and it's got my medication in it so that I can just have it out as I need to use it. And then that, like Mo, I have a list that just goes right with it.
Hold that for a sec. So these are examples of the cold packs and my burn kit, right? So this is the emergency kit that if something bad happens and we're racing out or we're helping somebody or we can't get out, and I literally isolate that separate from my first aid kit as well. Backup for that.
You guys have backup chargers.
We have backup chargers. I have two more things. One, our friend Jeff talked about the blanket. You guys know what the wool blanket's for? Somebody shout it out. Put out fire, maybe. More personal protection, right? Embers, you can run out of your house with this wool blanket over your head. I want you to feel how heavy this thing is. Pass that around. It's not expensive, right? It's like $30 and we have them in our car and in the go bag. But here's what I learned. So if you're in your vehicle and you're evacuating and you're trapped, for us, 9 mile one way in, one way out road, hairpin turn, the campers coming out of Peninsula Campground, it's not unrealistic to think we might be trapped. So you drop to the floor and you put the blanket over you. What else do you do in your car if you're trapped? One thing, shout it out. Turn off the outside air and close your vents, right? What else? Make sure your windows are up. Try to get off the road. Headlights on or off? Exactly. Get low on the floor, heavy wool blanket over you, stay there, right? So that's a worst case scenario. But if you don't, as somebody said, well, I say this all the time in pickleball, if you don't have time to get ready, you have to be ready. So when that wildfire approaches us, we don't have time to get ready. We have to be ready. So all of these things, my go bag isn't ready, but it's got a lot of crap in it. And every year I refresh it and I put protein bars and snacks in there, like you said. The recommendation is to have 3 days supply of food and water in yours. And then the last one, so I have my survival kit, my go bag. This is for Mac and Maisie, our dogs. They have their own backpack. So I isolate that, and I read on the Nevada County go bag list, which you want to pull that out of the box, please? There's a stack of those to hand out. The stack of go bag checklist. Yep. So I learned today that we should be printing out pictures of our animals and carrying it in our go bags. So as my homework assignment for this meeting, I did that for our dog Mac, for Maisie, and basically a description of them and our contact info. The idea being, if you get separated from your pets, you already have this prepared. I mean, nothing would make me cry more than, being separated from them. Sorry, Mike. But I don't want to be there, but I want to be prepared. And so that came off of this checklist that Jeff's passing out that Alex from OES brought for us today. So I want to thank Mo for playing our game, and she wins a big prize. No, we're getting a prize. And what it is a sun shield. And we had a few other things. So all I'm going to say to you guys is, next time we send out these meeting notices and say, let's play a game, we want to play. I like games. So I think we'll be doing more games in the future. So please pay notice to that. Yes, comment.
One thing that hasn't been brought up at all is like triangular band-aids or cravats. And you pretty much do more with that than almost anything else.
So he's suggesting triangular band-aids.
Playing, set a blanket, a leg.
Are you like an EMT or something? Ah, that's some advanced stuff. Cravats, and somebody taking a note on that we can figure out what that is later. Thank you for that. And you have one, sir? Please.
Thank you. Talking about the go bags and whatnot, being prepared ahead of time and, thinking red flag warning, what am I going to need? One of the other things that may be helpful is, we're making our go bags, which couldn't be more important, but consider the stuff that you're leaving behind, right? And with the pets, pictures of the pets, but not that you're going to leave them behind, hopefully, but consider, like, if you get a red flag warning or if you get one of these dangerous fire weathers, walk through and do a quick video of your house, like the inside of your house, right? The stuff that you're leaving behind. It'd probably be pretty handy for your insurance adjusters to have in the event that you unfortunately lose your home, to know what was inside and be able to hopefully start replacing it.
Thank you, sir. The other thing I will direct you guys to is CAL FIRE has, I don't know that it's new, but it's updated as a planning tool. And again, it's on their website. We can put that out for you guys, but it's super easy. It's personalized. You put your information in and you develop your own checklist, and it helps us, trigger all these things we should be doing. And it gives you tips and tricks for evacuation and for go bags and stuff too. But this is one of those things we talked earlier about, how we hear about this every year, again and again and again. Let's do our go bags. But only 5 of you raised your hands, saying, hey, we've done ours. I still have stuff to do. I'm guilty as charged. Having this on the agenda tonight forced me to think about it and start looking through my go bag from last year and refreshing it and going, okay, so this is the trigger. You guys going to go home and do that? Yes. You're going to share that with your neighbors? Sure. Awesome. Question, comment, Paige, go. Yeah, just on the lighter side, one thing I always put in my go bag is a couple decks of cards and a book. Because if you are stuck in a shelter or something, it'd be nice to have something to take your mind off of it. Thank you. Great tip. Also in my go bag, I have a blank notepad and pen because if something does happen, you're going to have to jot down. You're going to be on the phone with emergency services and take notes and capture that. So great idea. I love books and cards, games. Susan.
In our Firewise communities, we get our community members to pick somebody else in the community, a friend, and establish a go bag buddy day and say to each other, okay, we're going to do this on Saturday. Okay, we're going to do this on Tuesday.
And so if you have a buddy in your neighborhood, a neighbor, and you agree to put your go bags together, obviously at your own house, but on the same day, then you're accountable to each other.
Gosh, it sounds a lot like those workout buddies or weight loss buddies and calorie counting and stuff like that. Yeah, cool.
Did you do it? No. Did you? No. And then you
Great idea. Any other, you want to share here, Sandy? And
Also talking about what we're gonna do before we go to save our house and help firefighters, such as checking off all the stuff off your decks, getting rid of all your cushions, anything that's gonna burn on the deck, toss it off your deck, get it out of the way before you take off.
Yep.
Otherwise, that's what firefighters are gonna have to do. This is one of the things I talked to Joanne a lot about is we don't discuss enough how many times firefighters, instead of putting out fires, they're doing all the work that we were supposed to
should have done
beforehand. And instead of putting the fire out, they're saving the houses.
Yep.
And if all the houses were protected, they could be putting the fires out instead of doing the work that we're supposed to be doing.
Thank you for that. 100% right. And to your comment about the things to do, that's where is my friend Joanne? Joanne, we talked about we're going to do a Zoom meeting specific to Red Flag Day checklist, and those actions and others will be included in that. So that's something that will be coming up here. So thank you for all your participation in that. Moving forward, I think we're moving on to the gentlemen at the back who have been so patiently waiting for us to do our evacuation go bag showdown. I think Jeff won though. I mean, nobody can do it better than he can. But this is the game that you guys missed. If you had been participating with your go bags, you were going to be showing and telling. All right. So first up, I think we have CAL FIRE. Battalion Chief Mickey Chiswick to the front. And don't trip over the chainsaw. Yeah, anything relevant.
Hello, Mickey Chiswick with CAL FIRE. I'm the local battalion chief. My office is in Nevada City, and I cover most of Western Nevada County. I'm going to give you a couple of quick updates. So all of our aircraft has arrived for the summer at Grass Valley Air Attack Base. We got Tanker 88 and 89 this week, and Air Attack 230 has been there for a couple days now. We'll get our copters pretty soon. There'll be one at Truckee, and there'll be one at Auburn for our area. And then, of course, the Forest Service has a copter at White Cloud. We are going to finish all of our seasonal hiring this week, and then we'll be fully staffed. We already are, but we're paying overtime until the last folks get through. Residential burning is still open, and we're going to continue it probably for another week, maybe 2 more weeks. We're going to watch the weather, but we want you guys to be able to accomplish your burning to do your fuel reduction work. And then, excuse me, kind of in line with that, the broadcast burning. So the broadcast burning this year, and those are called LE7s, and then the LE5s, which are like oversized pile permits. Those are not going to be those are not going to go into the burn ban this summer. So folks are going to be able to conduct their broadcast burns through the summer as long as they can meet their objectives and they can keep the fire basically within their prescription, which they set, which CAL FIRE inspects and approves. So if we get those nice days in July where maybe it only gets up to 85, or in August, or especially in September, we get those nice days maybe at 78 degrees or 82 degrees, you're going to notice a lot more people burning. And you guys have probably already noticed that a lot more people are burning coming into the springtime or out of the springtime and into fire season. And then just one other thing to let you guys know of, UC Davis Field Station down in Browns Valley, they do an annual grass crop survey, and the grass crop this year is at 140% of normal. And generally speaking, the grass is our carrier fuel, it's our ignition fuel. So we have a really good, robust grass crop this year, which is primarily how the fires are going to get started.
Could you talk a little bit about the fire outlook overall?
When I was younger, I used to try and predict what the fires were going to do, and then I used to say, "Well, ask me in October," and then I said, "Ask me in November," and then December, and then now we had fires in January, and I think even in February, and so who knows? It comes down to the lightning and the wind mostly, and then the knuckleheads out there making poor decisions. So it just always varies. Yep. That's the trend. I mean, the list of damaging wildfires that I think you had put up there, if you notice, our little old 49er fire from 88 or 89 isn't even on the list anymore. All those fires are 2003, 2007, 17 was terrible, 2020 was terrible. So the trend is more and worse. And then shoot, who'd have thought we'd had a 1 million acre fire? Now we've had basically 2 of them. And then who'd have thought just last year, the year before last year, that we'd have had the Park fire burn that far, that fast, and burn for that long. So, and they're our neighbors. Butte County is our neighboring county, or one of them that's close by. Yep. Any other questions? Yeah.
When a fire goes through and it seems like it fries everything, is there a period of X number of years where it's kind of, you're not going to get crown fires because there's no crown left?
Yeah, I actually think that Joanne might be able to speak best to that. So I'll just pass the mic to her. That's her specialty.
The question was, after a wildfire has gone through, how many years or how long will it take before it's going to be a threat again? The reality is, with the conditions, that some of the incident management teams are finding that even a year or 2 after, it's still going to burn through. And a lot of times because grass comes back, without the trees and the shrubs, it may not burn as a crown fire, but it's often still very flammable. So no bets are off.
Any other questions?
So my question is simply, why are we allowing more people to burn later in the years when it seems like every week we read about some knucklehead, as you described them, that has caused a fire that threatens our communities? Why? Why do we allow this to keep going later in the year and not force it to happen in the winter when it should?
Yeah. Good question. So that's a great question, and that's a question we're getting a lot of these days. I mean, it was just last week or the week before that the Brunswick Basin was filled with smoke, and we had a lot of people asking questions. So this goes back to the governor, and the governor wants us to burn more to basically create more defensible space for our communities, to reduce the buildup of vegetation, to make our communities and our homes more hardened and more resilient. And we've tried to, I can't say we as in CAL FIRE, the governor has tried to push it and tried to encourage it and set objectives of 500,000 acres annually. And it's just been hard to achieve the goals at the pace that we're going. And so what the governor has decided, and a lot of it falls back to the Senate Bill 311 that came out a couple of years ago, but basically what the governor wants to do to achieve his objective is to let people burn more year round when their prescribed fires are in prescription. And so it's not like somebody just gets to go out to their property and light it on fire. It's not like the Forest Service is just going to go out there and start a fire, or any other private property owner. There is a process, a permitting process, and it's very strict. So you have to basically apply for a permit. You have to have your plan. You have to have a contingency plan. You have to tell us what your objectives are. And then you have to have it inspected by CAL FIRE. So we come out to your property, we walk your area that you want to burn with you, and then we talk about what your objectives are. We talk about what kind of prescription you're putting out that you want to burn in, and we work with you to basically say, like, okay, this isn't something that we think that you should burn when it's 100 degrees, but if we have a week in July where it's 84, 85, 86 degrees, and you could meet your objectives and it's safe, then we can work with the landowners to set those prescriptions. And then we walk the property. We make sure that they have the resources they need to hold the fire. We make sure that they have the fire line to stop the fire. We can require any kind of equipment that we believe that they may need. We would set water sources, identify a minimum amount of personnel, fire resources, and basically from our perspective, we would say that at their level of training, with the resources they have on hand and the prep that they have, that they can safely conduct this wildfire. And so far this year, we've been very successful. And this is going to be really the first year where we're going to try it out, and we're going to burn through the summer. And it's don't get the idea that when it's August 4th and it's 103 for the 7th day in a row and the humidity in the teens, that folks are going to go out and burn. They have their prescription that they have to keep their fire within, and that's what their permit is good for. And so that's when they're going to be conducting their burns. And just to point out a couple of things. So we haven't been exposed to this, and so it's all new, and we're creatures of habit. And so at first we're always very skeptical, and I'm skeptical as well. I don't know how this is going to go, but I think it's going to go well. That's my prediction. But let's just think that you have a neighborhood, your Firewise community, and then you have a vacant or an unimproved piece of land that's beside you. And what if they go in and they do prescribed fire? First they thin, then they do prescribed fire, and then they've reduced all the fuels basically in your backyard. And then a fire comes from that direction. Well, now you're a lot more protected. So those people have gone out and they've done a lot of work that is going to be beneficial to you. I'm expecting a rancher to the west of Alta Sierra to burn 9 or 11 acres. And that's going to be a great, turn into a great shaded fuel break that's either going to keep a fire from Alta Sierra if it goes one way, or keep it from all the infrastructure on Wolf Mountain if it goes the other way. And so while there is a threat, and this is something that we haven't really dealt with in the last couple of years, maybe even decades, there's a lot of positivity to it, and it's being done in a controlled environment. We aren't just going out there and letting landowners throw matches. So, we'll talk again this time next year, and it'll be really interesting to see how things go. And I think, Joanne, do you want to say a little bit more? Yeah, so any guesses on in Nevada County most of our starts for fires? So you guys are all pretty educated. If I went into a classroom or I just asked the general public, usually it's smoking, or it's any number of other things, catalytic converters. Most people don't think it's burn piles, but actually it is burn piles. And June is actually our busiest month. May probably comes in second, and it's because of all of our debris escapes. Now, I've been a fireman for over 20 years, and I can tell you that every debris escape that I've been to, they didn't have their 10 foot of clearance down to bare mineral soil. The majority of the debris escapes that we have, they burn down, and people go to bed, and then the next day they look out and they see an ash pile and they think it's good, and they go off to work. Well, in the afternoon, a wind blows an ember outside of their little fire ring, or they have mulch that the fire travels through, or any number of things. But most of the time it's people that they just don't have their clearance, and then they don't go back and make sure it's fully extinguished. Now, the people that are conducting the pile burning really should look at the people who are the more responsible burners who are conducting the prescribed fire, because those prescribed fire folks, they are following up behind the fire. They're extinguishing it, or they're mopping it up. They're clearing and treating around the area, and they're making sure that they're not going to have an escape. And that's what the residential burn folks should be doing, burning a little bit more responsible. We probably could, I say we, the CAL FIRE, the unit, the region, we probably could cut off residential type burning. And it would be a lot quieter for us for the next couple of weeks. But all the people that have done their work and have limbed up their trees, and they have that pile sitting there, we want them to have an opportunity to be able to get rid of that and get rid of the fuel. So we're going to play it by ear, take it a week at a time, and see if we can extend it. But really what we're looking for is just the communities to be able to make their homes a little bit more safe, because they've probably reduced the fuel already and it's sitting in a pile, and we just want to allow them to burn that pile.
Okay. Alex Keeble-Toll, Office of Emergency Services.
Did you want to put up the PowerPoint hat?
So hi, I'm Alex Keeble-Toll. I'm your Director of Nevada County Office of Emergency Services. And I basically just get to reiterate everything you've heard. Really excited to see this group of people come into alignment with what we call our outreach and engagement wheel of OES, which is all about giving you actionable information at the time of the year when you can use that information. Because we don't want to tell you important things, but then have any level of confusion about, well, can I do this now? Or is this something I need to wait on? So as far as having seasonal information that's appropriate, is there a clicker? I'm like, where is the clicker? Perfect. Okay. So have you guys seen this before? If you haven't seen it and you haven't filled it out, there's some on the back. Please do. You can scan the QR code. Like Casey and the folks here, we are really invested in making sure that the information that we're providing to you is actually useful and that you're getting that information in a format that makes sense. So some of the things we're wanting to know is, does it make sense to mail a county-wide Ready, Set, Go handbook to you, or does it make more sense for you to get that information as part of your Firewise community meetings because you could have a conversation about it? That's the type of things we want to hear from you. So if you haven't done this, please do. Wanted to go forward, but it's, okay. Did you guys get your county-wide mailer? So this year we're doing a tiered approach with our information. We sent out kind of an early season county-wide mailer to remind you of the actions that you need to take now, and then to remind you of the importance of defensible space when we were offering our free community green waste events. So, here's what you need to do, and here's some resources to allow you to do it. And then in August, we will be sending out our countywide Ready, Set, Go handbook. So we're kind of hitting you with a 1-2. Reminding you early and then coming in later when we're really into what we would consider to be the height of traditional wildfire season to come back and remind you. 5 steps to preparedness. Sign up for Code Red, right? That's the #1 thing you need to do. I'm imagining everyone here is signed up for Code Red, but if you have people who move to your neighborhood, make sure that they understand the importance of signing up for Code Red. Signing up for Code Red always has to be paired with knowing your zone because we use zone-based evacuation. So you're not going to get a Code Red that says evacuate from the library. You're going to get a Code Red that says evacuate from a specific zone. Find your 5. This is kind of leaning into that idea of if you have to go somewhere, where are you going to go? And also check on your neighbors. So these should be 5 people in your life that are not necessarily all local. And in fact, please make sure you've got at least one person on there that's not local. These are going to be your trusted allies. You're going to call them and let them know if there's an emergency in your neighborhood. You're also going to have them check on you during an emergency. You may not have access to your traditional modes of communication. We live in a very rural community. You know, power can be out, your self-service may not be functional. So have someone who can check on you as well, and pack your go bag, and not just your go bag for yourself, pack your go bag for your pets. Someone said something about how difficult it is to get a dog in the car, right? My cats seem to know when the carrier is coming out that is the sign to disappear. I will share with you that I've got a dog that's quite anxious, and we give him pills before we take him to the vet to reduce his anxiety. So that's something I have in my pet go bag, is those anxiety reducing pills, so that Moose doesn't lose his mind when he has to go in the crate in the car.
If things really go bad, you can talk to yourself.
I mean, I do not have tequila in my go bag. However, we did refresh our go bag over the weekend, and I am definitely going to tell my husband that we need to put some tequila in the go bag. And then, against my better judgment, probably something sweet treat for the children so that they have their fix as well. Understand alert and warning, right? So we don't just use code red. Really, you should think about alert and warning as being a network of different communication options. And again, that's because we live in a rural community. So we've got our code red alerts, which you're signing up for, and that's tied to your landline, your cells, emails, texts. There's a mobile app for code red. Make sure you've got that. Understand what a wireless emergency alert is. So that's not zone based, that's geographically based, and that's going to ping off of cell phone towers. So you're going to get that WIA if you're in the vicinity. Emergency alert systems in terms of radio and TV. So several people had those battery powered or crank radios. Our trusted local radio stations like KNCO and KVMR can be a great source of information if you can't access it other ways. And then last, understand what a high-low siren is, right? That's the last resort. That's when someone is driving through your neighborhood with that very European-style siren. And that means go right then. Like, you don't have time to grab your go bag. Get in your car and leave immediately. And the idea around understanding all of these different emergency alerts is one of these will fail you. It will fail someone in this room for whatever reason. And you want to make sure that at least one of these kind of webs of that safety net are going to catch you. Maintain situational awareness. So we touched briefly on the Ready Nevada County dashboard, and good discussion around the importance of not just taking in information about a red flag warning as weather information, but what are you going to do that's actionable? And that's all that situational awareness piece. Understand what a red flag warning is and what you need to do. Understand how weather can impact, the level of risk, sort of your heightened awareness. Understand not just your zone, but the zones around you, and look at which direction that wind is traveling, and understand that, if the zone adjacent to you is under an evacuation order, you should probably think about going then, right? Or if you have large animals or pets that like to hide or any of those things, just maintain that situational awareness. And that also speaks to, what we can do for first responders, and so that they can really do their job. All of these pieces are about personal responsibility. We need to do everything within our power as residents so that our first responders can focus on their highest and best use within their power. And so having that situational awareness supports that. It's our responsibility. We live here. We need to be aware of what's going on around us. Pack a go bag. I think we went over this pretty well, but if you guys want more of these materials for your Firewise communities, please do reach out to us in OES. It's a great reminder of not just what you need to have in your go bag, but what you need to have for your pets. Understand your evacuation options. So I say options because we're never going to tell you your evacuation route. because we never know where a fire is going to start. We don't know if it's a windy day. We don't necessarily know how that fire is going to behave. You know, our first responders have a very good idea, but we're not going to tell you go from your home along this road to this place. It's your responsibility to understand what options are available to you and make sure that they're actually options for you. So if someone tells you, oh, you can get from UBET across Greenhorn Creek and over into kind of the, what is it, Greenhorn Banner area, like know if that's actually an option for you. That stream channel changes significantly during high flow events. There's a lot of rock material that moves. If you don't have a four-wheel drive, you're not going to get across it. Understand what is actually an option and drive it. Drive it in daylight, drive it at night. If it's very, very smoky during a wildfire, it will be like driving at night. And that's your responsibility to understand. And make sure your loved ones do that as well, right? I think about my mom, she's got horses. I'm imagining my mom putting the horses in a horse trailer and driving some of her evacuation options and going, well, that's not going to be a go for her. She's going to need to figure out what of those she's actually comfortable with. So again, that personal responsibility piece. And then just a couple of notes as far as, we have a lot of visitors in Nevada County once things start to get into our summer season. We've got a lot of folks who are down at the river. Reminder that our river flows are really high right now, so not wildfire related, but also situational awareness related. And so just make sure that, if you have folks who are visiting you, that you live, for instance, like Casey out by, Rollins Reservoir, where there's lots of recreationists, this is a resource that we'll have available. It's just a good reminder of how we behave like good stewards in this wildfire prone area, in particular in the summer months. I always like to include this at the end just so you guys understand what projects Office of Emergency Services has planned or underway. Overall, the vast majority of our projects do aim to improve evacuation routes, right? We're looking to do that 75 feet or 150 feet on either side of roadways to make evacuation conditions safer for you. Finally, as Firewise community leaders, do know that our request for proposals for the critical evacuation route program closes on the 27th. We did get confirmation from U.S. Forest Service that those funds are unfrozen and fluid. So if you had reticence about applying to the program because you were concerned about the uncertainty of whether we would actually be able to implement, we will. If you have questions about it, please reach out to Alex, our forestry project manager. We've got some really great resources to help you pull together a proposal. And if you do nothing else, then look through these options and figure out what your priorities are as a community, then that's a step in the right direction, because it is building those relationships with your neighbors, understanding what your vulnerabilities are, and what it would look like to become more resilient. And that's what I've got. Do you guys have any questions? Yes, for the critical evacuation route. Yeah, so that is up under our projects tab on readynevadacounty.org. We will also be pushing out a press release tomorrow, I believe is when it's slated for, just reiterating that these funds are fluid and linking to some of the different resources. So there's been a number of virtual office hours, kind of walking people through the different aspects of the proposal. So there's a lot of great resources to support you in being successful in developing a project. Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you. Oh, one in the back.
This is just about for the whole group, and what we're looking forward to in the future and things that can help. And a lot of us, we all live in checkerboard. So even if we're working hard and doing well as Firewise communities to take care of our local areas, when we have checkerboard, what can we do? How can you guys help us to work through government agencies, BLM, Forest Service, State Park, to force their hand to do the work that they need to do in our communities as well?
Yeah, and I can speak to that sort of briefly. I would say, at face value, it's not for a lack of want to do the work with our federal partners. It's a lack of resources to do the work. And so the way we've approached that through Nevada County OES is to develop collaborative agreements with our federal land managers. So we have a good neighbor agreement in Eastern Nevada County with Tahoe National Forest Truckee Ranger District, and a good neighbor agreement in Western Nevada County as well. And what a GNA allows us to do is to create collaborative pools of funding. So there's funding that Forest Service can access that we can't, and funding we can access that Forest Service can't. So we can assemble these collaborative portfolios of funding, and then we can implement on behalf of the Tahoe National Forest projects. So we have a project in East County that'll kick off next week. And we have a $1.7 million project in West County that should kick off in the next month or so. And these are the first ever GNAs with Tahoe National Forest that we successfully implemented last July. And there's a ton of opportunity to continue to work through different projects on specifically Tahoe National Forest land. Similarly, with BLM, we have a BLM collaborative capacity building program where we have been able to take county general fund dollars and use that money to fund work on priority BLM parcels. So for instance, the South Yuba River Campground, we removed 47 hazard trees along Old Downeyville Highway on different BLM parcels that were identified as priorities in the evacuation study. So we are standing up those tools. Just like for all of us residents, there's a lot of work for us to do on our own individual privately owned parcels, and there's a lot of work to do across our national forest lands. And it's going to take all of us. It's going to take all of us at all levels. And I would say the people in this room, individual private property owners are the single most underutilized force multiplier that we have in Nevada County. So do everything you can on your parcel, and then collectively at the larger scale, we're doing what we can to partner with our state and federal land managers to support them in doing that work on the public lands that are under their jurisdiction.
Thanks, Alex and Nikki. We are out of time. Do we have any other stakeholders here from cities or any other? Okay. All right, well then we'll wrap it up. Sorry we don't have time for brainstorming or socializing, but you're welcome to socialize.